fail out of that particular portion.
Because physically it's hard? And physically, what is the hardest part? Like if I want to try out to be a firefighter, what exercise should I focus on or try?
So it's not just necessarily just physical, right? It's physically hard, but it's also like mentally hard. It's emotionally hard. It's hard on a bunch of different fronts. And the other thing that they will try to do is make sure that you can handle the job psychologically. So if you're afraid of heights, that will probably get exposed. If you're afraid of the dark, that will probably get exposed. If you're afraid of blood, that will probably get exposed. If you're claustrophobic, that will probably get exposed.
How does fear of blood get exposed? Like, do you throw blood on people or like?
No, but during your probationary year and that kind of stuff, you have to encounter real situations, and you have to be basically the tip of the spear as the probie or the rookie out there. And if you can't handle those particular situations, you're being evaluated every single day. So that will show.
Okay.
And then that, people may decide to talk to you and say like, hey, this job isn't necessarily for everybody, right? Like it's not. Like there's a lot of people that shouldn't be firefighters. It's a great job. It's a great career. It's very rewarding, but it isn't for every single person. So what I would say is that in rookie school and during that probationary time frame, all of those fears, if you have them and you can't control them, they're going to get exposed, and it may be, if you can't work through them, they may be the reason why you don't make it.
And maybe this is giving away something, but what is the hardest interview question that you give that people stumble on, and what would be the best answer they could give you for that?
I don't know if there would necessarily be a best interview question. The interview question that will probably always get asked of you at some point is just, why do you actually want to be a firefighter? And I think it's a very basic question, but how you choose to answer it, you can go a lot of different directions with. And I think the best answers are the types of answers that don't bullshit the person on the other side of the actual interview, right? Because there's a lot of people that come in with something that's like very canned, very generic, very, they don't feel it, right? And you can tell they don't necessarily feel it. And those answers, in my opinion, tend to not be as strong as ones that where the people are authentic and they actually have like a really, really deep, heartfelt, good answer as to why they're actually doing what they're doing. They sell it.
This is something very interesting about you that I learned, which is that you wanted to be a firefighter very early on. Marissa was telling me that you wanted to be a firefighter, and you worked towards that for a long time, and then you became a firefighter. So what was the reason why you wanted to become a firefighter?
Well, for me, I actually decided that I wanted to do this when I was probably about 14 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was...
That's like fascinating to me.
Yeah, I was pretty young. I think one of my earliest recollections of it was, I actually, of all places, I went to a fire station in Mammoth Lakes, California, and I actually, visited the fire station there. And I don't even know if the guys were paid or volunteer firefighters there, but they basically put me on an engine and they kind of drove me around and showed me some stuff. And it was really, really, really cool. And they let me actually use a couple of the tools and stuff. And then I actually saw them fighting an actual brush fire, like, maybe a day or two later, and I was up in vacation growing up in California, and I was like, wow, that's actually really, really cool, right? So that kind of piqued my interest in it. And then like basically at about 14 and a half, 15 years old, I started taking trips to my local fire station, which was LA City Fire Department at the time. And I started basically just kind of talking to some other people that were there because they knew that my family knew that I was starting to get interested in it. So I would just go to the fire station and talk to some of the firefighters, and they would just kind of tell me about what they were doing, what their life was like, some of the calls that they had been on. They kind of just were starting to take me a little bit under their wing because I could see that I was interested in it. I actually became a lifeguard as well at 14. So I learned, CPR, that kind of stuff early on. I became an EMT, I think maybe at 16, 17 years old. So started down that direction as well. And I joined the Explorer post for LA City when I think I was 17 years old. So I think that I basically just kind of was always in team sports. I started playing team sports at 5 years old. I was always somebody that was like super interested in the concept of teams and the concept of like how do teams basically accomplish a mission that a few individuals couldn't. And I thought, what job best suits my particular personality? I always tried to be athletic, tried to basically do a lot of working out, tried to do those types of things. I found out that I wasn't afraid of blood or death or claustrophobia by challenging myself to make sure that I could handle that kind of stuff. And that's kind of my story towards getting into it. As soon as I graduated from high school, I went into College of the Canyons and I started getting my degree in fire science, working on an ambulance company, became a paramedic soon after that, went to a fire academy soon after that, tested all over the Western United States. I failed a bunch of my early tests, figured out what I did wrong, went back, kept testing, made it further and further into the process each time, but took me 4 years from the time I started to the time I actually got hired.
It's fascinating because in my life, I never knew what I wanted to do. And I was just kind of roaming around this and that, and just fell into what I did, whereas you, from an early age, it seems like you were just on that track, like this is kind of inevitable, For me, it was just like so many different things could have happened.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of a unique blessing, right? Like if you can figure out what you want to do and then know that that's what you want to do and then dedicate a lot of your time and energy towards it, then I'm not saying that like I didn't make mistakes, right? Like I definitely like made some mistakes and did a few things that didn't necessarily get me towards that path. As in hindsight, I think it could have been done a little bit better, but I think that it was a blessing that I realized that I wanted to do this as early as I did in life, because I was lucky to get into it as young as I was too, because the average age that most people end up getting hired, I think, is closer to 27 or 28 years old. And I was 22 when I started, so.
That's why you're a chief now.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
I'm more closer to the tail end of my career now than the beginning, so. Yep.
What an excellent experience. All right.
All right, man. I think it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes. If you don't mind, if when you edit it, if you could show me a few things, I'd be interested to see it.
Yeah, I'll try to get the pure raw file, and